Hello, Brian. How's it going? Oh, shows you as muted. Sorry about that. You'll have to unmute yourself, I believe. Oh, there you are. Everybody doing okay this morning? All right. Thank you very much, Brian, for using the chat. I appreciate that. Okay, well, we will get started here. Just 1 minute early, so I'll just spend this minute introducing myself. And then anyone else who wants to hop on can hop on, and if we need to recap anything, we'll do that. But my name is Kyle Souza. I am with P&P Oil and Gas Solutions. We optimize or help people, especially upstream, midstream oil and gas companies, optimize their back office like land, accounting, document management through the use of just various technologies like Amazon Web Services, Grouper, machine learning for data extraction, etc. But right now, the world is in a unique state with so many people working from home for the very first time. And that has been a challenge not only for individuals, but for organizations that are having to figure out how to distribute software. And one cool thing about Office 365 is it has an online version. So on Wednesday, I talked about Google Docs, and that's a great platform, and I love Google Docs, but also Office 365 has some really cool things. One of the biggest things is that the Excel for Office 365 is a lot more powerful than Google Sheets. So they win there. So if you go to office.com and you have Office 365, you can log in there and you'll see all the apps that you have access to. And depending on your 365 license in your organization, which you can have a private account and you'll get lots of functionality out of it, you'll see different applications up here. Now there's even more apps than all of these. You can click here on all apps and they've got lots of stuff. And I don't know why you would even use all of these at one time. But some people might. I know that I don't use all of them. You come down here and you got some more. So there's lots of that. There are some tips and tricks, but let me go back and I want to talk about where to find more help before we get into this. So there are 2 training centers online. I'll make sure I include links to all these things in the chat so that anyone who pops in can see them. But if you go to this support.office.com/en-us/office-training-center, you get the Microsoft Office 365 Training Center. And this has lots of great content, lots of videos and articles about getting started in Office 365. And one of the cool things is you have Office for Web training right down here, but most of the training for the desktop applications apply to the web applications also. There are some differences, but a lot of the core functionality that is on the desktop works exactly the same way. Not only is it there, but it works the same way in the web version. Now, if you want to take that up a notch, you can also go to training for the desktop application. Hold on just a second. I am live streaming this to YouTube and accidentally watched myself there. Okay. A little bit of a inception moment, if I will. Okay, we have the Office 365 training with certifications. So this is part of the Microsoft Learning Center. And if you take these classes, there are costs associated with them, but they also will get you certifications, whereas this first level of training is just about the knowledge. And then other training platforms that I've talked about in other videos on LinkedIn, such as Coursera and LinkedIn Learning, also have Office 365 training available with and without certifications on those. And I highly recommend checking those out. I always like to start with the free stuff. And if I want more, then I'll look at the paid stuff. If I really feel comfortable with something and something really cool and I want to tell people about it, then I'll make the purchase for a certification, but that's not always necessary. Okay, we'll close out of these trainings and I'm going to post those 3 links that we've looked at so far in the chat, just so that nobody has to make note of those. All right, let's take a look at some applications. The big ones that I want to focus on are OneDrive, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Right now, Teams is really cool though. Microsoft is offering 6 months free of Teams. So I'm using Zoom. There's also GoToMeeting out there, Skype, lots of cool platforms, but Teams is one that a lot of people like. My brother in particular is a big Teams fan. They're a Microsoft shop. He likes the fact that you can use GIFs inside of the chat. That's just one thing you can do with Teams that you can't do with a lot of the other ones is those movable pictures inside of the chat window. But let's take a look at Word. So I'm just going to do a new blank document here. And you'll see it's a pretty familiar interface, pretty clean, and you do actually have a ribbon interface. So the home, insert, layout, references, review. You notice this is a bit more robust than what you get on Google Docs. As good a platform as that is, this is a little bit more familiar to anyone who is used to the desktop application for Microsoft Office. And welcome, Chad, to the webinar. All right. So anything that you want to put into a Word document, I'm just going to fill it with some stuff to start with. You'll notice that as I type, it is saving up at the top. And when I stop, you'll see that it switches to saved here after a second. And I don't have to go manually save things. I have misspelled everything apparently. There we go. Now I can click somewhere without the pop-up. So it has saved this for me. Now if I want, I can rename it. This is my document. And I'm going to close out of this Word document here and go right back to my dashboard because I want to show you where that's saved to. Saved to OneDrive. It's right there. I was editing it a few seconds ago. This is my document.docx, so it's already in the Microsoft format. If I want to, I could click on it, I can open it up, and then I could go back to editing it however I wanted. Inside of OneDrive, it's more than just a place to save files. It's also a place to share files. So you get this little icon next to documents. You can share here. Share that. And first thing you want to do is make sure that you set your settings correctly. Anyone with the link can edit it, or anyone with the link can see it. People only in your organization if you have a business organization, or specific people. You also need to decide, do you want to make this view only? By default, it will allow editing. You can also set passwords and an expiration date for your sharing, but a lot of times I don't find that necessary. I either want somebody to be able to edit it or not. And so if you want to be really locked down, you can say only with specific people, don't allow editing. And then you can even block a download to where they can't save it to their computer. They can only look at it online. Let me cancel out of those settings and just go back to the default here. So anyone with a link can edit this. And I am going to just put in an email address here. Now, if I wanted, I could copy the link to it and then send anyone that I wanted to that link. Or if I am entering the email address, hit send, and oh, I can't share it with myself. That would be a problem, wouldn't it? My bad. But what I like to usually do is just copy this link and then send that link to the people that I want to see it. That way I can just pull up Outlook or whatever email program I'm using and send it to them that way. Now I get this, and then I can put that in there. Just so I don't mess up anybody's inbox today. I'll go ahead and continue to email to myself. You'll notice that I have a spreadsheet here. That's going to take us to the Outlook application, which we need to take a look at. This one's just blank. I just set up a blank one. But you'll notice that there's a lot of the same options that you get in the desktop application, including the option to add multiple sheets. Google Docs also has that functionality, but a big thing that Google Docs doesn't have in it is all the unique formulas to Microsoft Excel. So you do have like VLOOKUPs, which work across both systems, but there are certain formulas that don't work in Google Docs. The biggest thing for me, though, inside of Microsoft Office 365 that Google Docs is lacking is the ability to sort and filter the way that I'm used to inside of Office. Let me close out of this blank document right here, and I'm going to upload a new spreadsheet. So inside of OneDrive, at the top, instead of creating a new file, I'm going to go to Upload. I'm going to upload a file. You can also upload a whole folder, and you can create a folder on your local computer to sync to if you wanted to. That way it just keeps things live, like how people are used to with Dropbox. So I'm just going to upload this simple spreadsheet here. And now I can just style it the way that I like, highlight, bold it, underline it. You know what? Let's put some filters on it. And now if I want to, I could resort alphabetically. And that's something that I usually have some trouble with inside of Google Docs. So for me, that's a big plus that Office Online has over Google Docs, though I use Google Docs as well. You know, not disparaging either system. I'm a fan of both. You can also insert charts, pivot tables. Pivot tables are a big, cool thing to do in Excel, and something that, again, other systems might struggle with. You do have a lot of your data options. You'll notice that you don't have every single option that you have in the desktop version. So let me go over here to the Insert tab as an example. I'm going to pull up that same spreadsheet that we were looking at, or that we are looking at online. I'm going to pull it up on my desktop application. And we can see a little bit of the difference between the different options. So you can see there's a lot of the things in the web version that are in the desktop version, but not all of them. But 90% of what you're going to use or could use is going to be online. And for many people, I'd say 90% of people, 100% of what they use is going to be available in the online version. So this way, you don't have to install Microsoft Office. You don't have to have necessarily a compatible computer. It'll work on Chromebooks. I use a Chromebook at home. It'll work on Chromebooks. It'll work on Apple. And you don't have to purchase the Apple version of Microsoft Office for it. You just use it in the browser. All right, let's go back to our dashboard, and I'm going to open up PowerPoint. So PowerPoint, pretty simple. as far as, we're used to seeing them, and there's only so much you can do with it. There's not formulas in it like you get with Excel, but you do get some pretty cool options here. And so you can go and create a whole presentation right here from the web, or you could upload an existing presentation. And let's go visit OneDrive one more time here. So I have this presentation. Oops, didn't mean to click on it that way. Then click over here, and I am going, you'll notice that when you check next to an item, you have a few options. So if I wanted to, I could check multiple ones, and then I could download them. That's going to create a zip file and put it all into one folder. Or if I wanted to, let me uncheck that. I'm going to click delete on both of these. You can also create subfolders in here if you wanted to. And then you can move stuff into the folder. Let me just, there you go. So I just dragged and dropped. You can also check the box and choose to move to or copy to. Nope, I have not set that one up as a place. My bad. Just drag and drop. I'm going to put all that inside of the folder. There we go. The sync, again, that's for if you want to set up a desktop folder to synchronize to, maybe your My Documents folder or something along those lines. We'll look inside here. There's our documents, and then we're good. So that's a real quick overview. And Rita, thanks for joining us. If you look in the chat window, you'll see some links for training on Microsoft Office. What I wanted is the first 15 minutes to be a brief overview of Office and OneDrive, and then I wanted to leave it up for some questions. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask either in your microphone if you unmute yourself, or if you want to type into the chat, you can do that as well. All right. I don't see any questions coming in. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Again, it's a real brief overview, but the main thing is I wanted to show you what was there, and then those online resources where you can find out all the details you want, because it'd be impossible to cover everything in a 30-minute session or even a 4-hour session that these programs could do. It really takes looking for specific things, but it is a very natural transition to go from the desktop application to the web application version of Microsoft Office. It used to be a much more jarring change, and they have improved it immensely over the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. So thank you very much for attending. And if there's not any other questions, I will go ahead and bring this meeting to a close. I appreciate everyone who attended. And if we are not connected on LinkedIn, please do connect on LinkedIn. In fact, let me bring up my LinkedIn real quick. Just so that we can connect in case we are not already. So that's me. Need to update my profile picture, but that's the right Kyle Souza if you want to connect. Thank you all very much, and I hope you have a great weekend.